Hi everyone, Donna here, and right now I am procrastinating. I should be studying for an exam that I'm procrastinating even taking, and I have like such a long list of things to do, I really am considering a nap. So with that in mind, I wanted to talk a little bit about overcoming procrastination. Now, as a self-employed person, it's important that I achieve all of my tasks by a given time. And there's nobody standing over me to help me do that. It's just me. So I find it's very important for me to be able to self-motivate. One of the things that I'm studying right now is one of the classes I'm taking is Intro to Business. And this is the second class that I've taken that has really gone into self-motivation, or at least motivation, even if it's external. And there's really two kinds. There's two kinds of almost everything. There's intrinsic, which is within yourself, and extrinsic, which is when someone else is pushing you. But since I am self-employed, the only person that can push me is me. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we procrastinate and how we can overcome that. And we all do it. We all do it at some point. I have heard of maybe one person ever that doesn't procrastinate, and I really think he is a figment of someone's imagination, because we all do. Even the most successful people procrastinate at least some of the time. And some of it is because we see a need and there just simply is not time to take care of it. You know, for example, if your light bulb burns out but you don't have enough light bulbs, which involves a trip to the store, which involves, you know, it's going to take 20 minutes to do a 30-second task. So you kind of procrastinate that until, you know, the next time you're at the store and you can buy light bulbs. Now in psychology, according to Psychology Today, psychologists have long believed that people who procrastinate kind of have a faulty sense of time, that they think they will have more time to get something done than they actually do. I also think that maybe people think it's going to take longer than it does, and so they procrastinate because it just feels overwhelming. It actually, more current research suggests that procrastination is actually having difficulty managing distress. So it means that task aversion is to blame. So it's not that I don't have time to make up my bed in the morning, and I do make up my bed in the mornings. It's not that I don't have time. I know exactly. It takes me 7 minutes to put fresh bedding on my bed from the mattress up. Mattress protector, sheets, blanket, comforter, put pillows in the pillowcase and everything. 7 minutes. I know how long it takes. It takes me less than 2 to make up my bed, you know, just in the morning. However, if I don't like making up my bed, it doesn't matter how little time it takes. It just means that, and this kind of goes with what I was talking about yesterday when I was talking about self-sabotage. You know, I don't want to go, I want to go to the gym, right? And I have worked out today. Oh, I want to go to the gym, but oh, it's going to be boring and hard, and I'm going to hurt the next day, and there's going to be all these guys hanging around the machines and the barbells, and you know, acting like they have all the time in the world to just stand around, and I have 20 minutes to get in and out, and yeah, I'm just not going to go. Okay, that's kind of how that works. So it also, it's really hard on your self-esteem, because we all know when we're procrastinating. Now, I do always say never put off until tomorrow, which you can put off till next month. I'm a master procrastinator. Actually, I'm really good at getting things done, but it's really easy to do, and that's why there's these old sayings like, you know, never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. A stitch in time saves 9 is also an anti-procrastination statement. Go ahead and take care of things when they're little and they don't become big. But it all kind of goes back to faulty thinking or distorted thinking. Now, this is a theory from cognitive-based. I've been through this kind of therapy. It's cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. And the idea behind it is that you have some faulty thinking, you have some distorted thinking. And what really produces procrastination is catastrophizing. Catastrophizing. Did I say that right? I have no idea. It's, kind of creating a catastrophe, catastrophizing, creating a catastrophe in your mind. It kind of goes back to, oh, well, I need to go to the gym. Ideally, it takes me a couple of minutes to get there. 20 minutes on the treadmill, 20 minutes on the weight machines, and I'm out the door. Unless I choose to spend more time in the pool or the hot tub. However, when I went to the gym closest to my house the last few times, and this is why I don't go anymore, Vasa Fitness, pay attention. I would go in and I'm a very, very busy person. My daytimes are pretty full. I am a single mom. I am a business owner. I want to take care of my clients, and I'm going to school. And so I do not have 3 hours to hang out at the gym. I do not have time. Guys, I really don't. And I don't know where these men get this time. I don't have time to sit and wait 20 minutes to do bench presses because a bunch of gym rats want to just stand around and talk. They're always talking. They will kind of do some half-hearted bench presses and then they talk. And, the women are all standing around going, we have kids to pick up. We have to cook dinner. We have to get back to work. We have things we got to do. How can you even be, I have no idea how these guys can stand around all day. Do they not have jobs? It's kind of what always goes through my head. Do you not have a job and a family and other things to do that you can just stand around? That's why I get frustrated with my friends who are married men. I'm usually friends with them and their wives, and the wives are kind of frazzled. And the guys are like, oh, I just don't understand, Donna. Why can't you get all of this stuff done? And I'm going, all the stuff your wife does and all the stuff you do, I do all of that. So I'm just, it frustrates me. So I will tend to catastrophize going to the gym. Well, it's 6 in the morning and the gym's going to be full and it's going to be busy and these guys are going to be standing around. I'm going to have to go to another gym 20 minutes away, which is going to add another 40 minutes just in the commute time, and it's just too much. I just can't do it. That's how that goes. That's catastrophizing. So if you want to eliminate procrastination, or at least reduce procrastination in your life, you want to stop catastrophizing. In fact, I would say, don't even have any expectations of how it's going to go. It's going to be fine. I was just talking to a young lady who was talking about how afraid she is of failure. And I really kind of talked to her a little bit more about this because that was one of the things I wanted her to get, is that even if you fail, now she's a young adult, very young adult, newly fledged, and like she's 19, and she somehow got the idea that if she wasn't right there to care for her parents, that they would commit suicide. And I kind of said, you know what? They're adults. This is not it's not your responsibility. You need to stop catastrophizing that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to weep and wail and gnash their teeth, and then they'll be fine, basically. And probably she was even contributing to the problem by taking on this responsibility. Bless her heart. She's such a sweet young lady, and I just absolutely love her, and I just really want her to understand that children do not take on the problems of adults. You let adults take care of that. So she catastrophizes this idea of failure. If I fail, my parents or one of my parents will commit suicide. And I'm going, if you fail a class in college, the absolute worst thing that could happen is you'll have to take it again. And she went, oh. I said, I promise you, that is the worst thing that will happen. You may have to take that class again from the same professor. And she went, oh. And I said, the second worst thing, which is actually a good thing, is you might sit back and go, I don't even like this major. Why am I majoring in this? Why don't I choose something else with prereqs that I understand? And she said, okay. And I said, or you may say, I want to take a different class instead of taking this class. Or you can go to your professor and say, I don't understand the way you're teaching this. Can you help me? I said, there's so much growth that comes from failure. Just failure. And you know, we kind of went back to Meet the Robinsons, the Disney movie, Meet the Robinsons, which is my all-time favorite movie. Is definitely my favorite Disney movie. My favorite Disney movies tend to be the ones that are less well-known. They're not the princess movies. I like them too, but Meet the Robinsons, one of the characters, you know, says, you know, from failure you learn, from success, not so much. And I thought, I can really take this to heart, because every time I fail, I learn something new. And when you're successful right off the bat, you don't learn those lessons. So that's why we say, you know, it takes 20 years on the average to become an overnight success. You have to have all of those lessons. You have to pay the price. So stop catastrophizing. No matter what happens, it will be fine. Did you not get your presentation done in time or ready in time? You know, you might have to wing it, but it will be fine. You know, even if something really terrible happens, whether or not that's a catastrophe depends on your mindset. Something to think about. A lot of people think that procrastination is the same thing as being lazy, and this is from Mind Tools, which is also one of my favorite websites. They talk a lot about productivity. It's actually not. When I'm procrastinating, I actually, there's times when I get sidetracked, which is not the same thing. This week has been a lot of procrastinating, but really not. You know, which doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Monday, I had my regular work day. Tuesday, however, I was sick in bed. I mean, sick as in, I might wish this on my worst enemy. Just sick. Stomach flu. And then Wednesday, I had my regular work day, mostly. You know, and I didn't quite do as much for my big client, because I already hadn't done anything on Tuesday, but I did, you know, kind of had my regular work day and then started preparing for Thanksgiving. And then Thursday was Thanksgiving Day and Friday was a holiday. I mean, for me, I decided to just take it off. However, I'm going to pay that price, and I know it. Now, you know, we talk about lazy people procrastinate. I promise you I haven't been lazy at all this week. I have really worked hard, just not on client work as much. So I'm going to have one client that I won't be able to invoice for as many hours as I would like to, because, you know, I was sick and it was Thanksgiving. I'm still not quite where I would like to be. Health-wise, I've been sleeping a little bit more, but that's, again, it's kind of outcropping from being sick, which is probably a result of, as much as I would like to blame my sister and my nephew for giving my son sick and giving it to me, it's actually probably because I'm driving myself so hard. So procrastination is actually an active process. It is the act of sitting up and going, I should go to the gym, but I don't want to go to the gym. Let me rationalize why I don't want to go to the gym, instead of just saying, you know what, I don't want to go to the gym, I forgive myself for that, and I'm going to go back to bed. Okay? We kind of, you know, you're just choosing to do something else instead of what you know you should be doing. And it's really demotivating, which is interesting. So, another way is to just recognize that you're procrastinating. This is from the Mind Tools website. I would say that we mostly know when we're procrastinating, just like I know I'm procrastinating right now. I'm choosing to make this video instead of doing some other work. You see some dishes on my table. I should be cleaning that up, and I will after I'm done. I should be studying. I have a test to study for, but I'm choosing to do this video instead. That's a form of procrastination. It's prioritizing less important things. I could let this wait till Monday when I usually do my videos over urgent and important things. Another way that people procrastinate and they don't realize they're procrastinating is they tell themselves they're being really productive by checking their email and doing low priority tasks. And they go, I got a lot of stuff done today, but none of it was important. I have talked before about the idea of things being the quadrant. I've talked about the quadrant, and that is this idea that we have things that are important and urgent and not important, or sorry, not important. Let me think how I want to do this. The problem with a lot of these videos is I'm doing these kind of off the cuff. I come up with a subject and I just kind of go with it. So sometimes they seem a little bit okay, this one's urgent. Urgent, not important. Important, not urgent. Okay, so there's this idea, and it's this. And I hope when you watch this, it's flipped around the other way. So there's this idea that we can put all of our tasks in this matrix. And we have the ones that are both urgent and important. So that would be things like filing your taxes is urgent on April 15th, and it's important. In February, it is important. It is important, but not urgent. We have urgent, but not important. Sometimes that's the phone. Sometimes that's email. Sometimes that's, friends coming over to say hi. It may be urgent, but it may not be important. Things that are urgent and important, in my mind, are things like a couple of years ago, I got a phone call from my oldest child, and she said, "Mom, you need to come quick." And I said, "Okay." I was working, and she goes, "Jared fell and broke his arm." I said, "Oh, that is urgent and important. I can't put that off. I can't tell Jared, no, don't break your arm until I'm done with work." She also did that when she had her first child. She came downstairs and said, "I'm in labor." That's urgent and important. Then we usually get caught up in the things that are urgent but not important. And those are the things, like I said, phone calls are sometimes urgent, but not important. And that, by phone calls, I mean the robocalls I get all the time. It's urgent. My phone's ringing. I need to answer it. But it's not important. I have no interest in anything they're selling. The why, I don't know why the real estate agents that just love to come to my door when I know 5 real estate agents off the top of my head, and to see if I'm interested in buying, and I'm like, well, if I was, I wouldn't be talking to you. It's urgent. Someone's knocking at my door. It is not important. Then we have the things that are important but not urgent. And these are the ones that tend to get pushed to the back. And this is where procrastination happens. It's urgent, it's not urgent, but it is important. Preparing for taxes, meeting with your tax professional the year before to come up with strategies that are going to help your business. Working on your relationships, important but not urgent. And then of course in the bottom quadrant we have not urgent, not important. And those are the things that are just Facebook. Facebook is not important and it's not urgent, but somehow we managed to make it that way. Facebook is a ginormous time suck. That's all it is. Occasionally I will find a few gems in there, but I'm not even sure it's worth the effort. Only thing I use Facebook for, other than marketing, and I do use it for marketing, obviously, since I'm on Facebook, is to keep track of my family. Is it? So, if you do things like you start a high priority task and then you go get a soft drink or you go make coffee, you're procrastinating. If you keep pushing things to the back of your desk, is how I would put it. If you just imagine a pile of paper and you just keep pushing it to the back of your desk, or putting it in a pile, or skipping that item on your to-do list, or postponing it, or resetting the date it's due, because you just don't want to face it. If you fill your time with a bunch of stuff that other people have asked you to do and you put off the important stuff that you need to do, there you go. That's kind of where I get I have a hard time with making sure that my house is clean. It happens, of course, it happens every day, but that's one of those important things that isn't quite as important as some of the others. And so it tends to only happen like at night, if that. But I leave it clean at night so it's clean in the morning. But that's one of those things that I consider to be important, but of a lesser importance. It is important because I like to live in a clean house. But it's not urgent. It's not like there's inspectors coming in the morning that I need to prepare for. If you wait until, I need to be in the right mood to do my marketing. I need to wait till the market is right. My personal favorite, I can't do marketing because I don't feel motivated. That's when you need to do it the most. While you're procrastinating, that's where you go back into stop the catastrophizing. You're procrastinating because you think it's going to be worse than it is. I promise you, just letting that energy suck is worse than actually just doing the task. My hair keeps sticking to the back of my neck and it's driving me nuts. And personally, I don't care if anyone likes it, if I toss my hair or not. It's there. I like it. Figure out why you're procrastinating. Figure out why you need to do the task to begin with. Find your why again. This is something I've found to be very, very effective when I've dealt with my younger children. They're very good at doing what they need to do most of the time, except for cleaning up. They have typical teenager rooms. But if you have a why do you need to do this marketing? Why, Donna, do you need to hurry up and pass this class? Well, my why for school is partly just to get letters after my name. It is partly so I can return to the business that I helped start, which is where I want to be. It's so that I can do a better job. Kind of go down and find your why. there's a reason why that task is on your list. It could be as simple as, if I don't file my 2016 taxes, I can't get student aid for the next school year. So I have to file my 2016 taxes. It could be something as simple as that. It could be, I have to do this because if I don't do it, the penalty for not doing it is much worse than the penalty for doing it. Remember, everything is a decision. So if you make a decision not to do something, if you make a decision not to do something, you are making a decision for those outcomes of not doing it as well. Taxes is really a prime example. People don't like doing taxes. I understand that. They're always afraid that they're going to owe money to the government. Well, it's one thing to owe, $1,000 to the IRS. If you take care of it promptly, if you work with the IRS, if you make sure everything's taken care of. However, if you don't take care of it, the penalties for, the consequences for not taking care of it, for choosing not to do that, are exponentially worse. So I always laugh and go, the IRS is wonderful. You want to have as little dealings with them as you possibly can. They're wonderful if you want to call and ask questions. Their agents are very polite, and they will very politely lock down your bank account and take everything you own. They will be very polite about it. So focus on your why. Why are you procrastinating? Also, why do you need to do this to start with? Get out your calendar. A lot of us like to use, and I'm just as guilty as anybody else, when I get time, I will take care of it. And it's usually better for me to actually block my time out. I've talked before about the idea of using time blocking. I do this, I know that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my mornings are already taken up with another client. I know that on certain days, at certain times, I have things going on. Even if what I have going on is that I know that at 5 o'clock every day I start studying so I can get through my degree. I know that. And so I will be, very focused about, okay, it's Tuesday, it's 5 o'clock, I'm done with work, I have to now start, have to cook dinner because my kids complain if I don't. And then I have to start studying, and I have to stay focused on that. Believe me, there's a lot of times there's other things that I would love to do rather than study, even making videos. I would love to go to the movies. I would love to go for a very long drive. I would love to take a weekend off. I would love to go back to Disneyland. I would love to do a lot of things that I'm choosing not to do because I have made decisions to do what I'm doing. Just be realistic about it. You want to set yourself up for success. Now, some of the things that we have to do because we want to do them or because we see a need, and other things that we have to do because other people want us to do them for them. If you have a boss that's coming in saying, I need you on this project, you don't have a whole lot of choice. But if you are, again, if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner, you can sit down and go, well, I could spend Monday afternoons working on marketing, but I'm going to spend Monday afternoons at the movie theater instead. We can do that. The problem is, we need to be realistic about, for one thing, I'm going to go back to the idea of consequences. What are the consequences of not doing your marketing? Well, then you don't get new clients. If you don't get new clients, eventually your business will close. It says, if you're not a morning person, don't expect yourself to get up an hour early to start an exercise program you've been putting off for months. I am not a morning person. So realistically, if I want to be really realistic about when to put my exercise on my calendar, it's going to be at 6 p.m. That's a realistic time for me to do it. It is not at 6 a.m. I am not conscious at that time of day. I probably should be, but I do not do well. I have a terrible time getting out of bed in the mornings. It's just kind of who I am. You can assume that a project's going to take longer than you think. So schedule that time. I love to underpromise and overdeliver, and I love to do that because then when I overdeliver, I look like a rock star. And you know, if one of my friends said, you know, this says chunk it, and at first I thought it said chuck it, you know, throw it away, get done with it, don't even bother. But really, break it down into chunks. Now, this is an old saying, which is, you know, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. So if you need to eat an elephant, and sometimes it really does feel like that, you do it one bite at a time. I do this all the time with my clients. They will say, oh, I'm so far behind, and it's so terrible, and it's so awful. And I go, this is how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to do this much work for you every week, and I'm going to charge you, and I'll tell them by account. And I'm going to charge you this much every week. And you should expect this kind of progress every week. I break it into small chunks because then they're not looking at me going, well, why didn't you do 10 years of catch-up work on 5 different accounts in a week? Yeah, I can just go, well, you know, I'm gonna do it at this pace. And that helps them because then they know what to expect. It helps me because then I know what their expectations are. It also helps me because I can budget my time. I talk a lot about budgeting time. People forget that time is like money. Money is actually an infinite resource. Time is not. Time comes at, you get 86,400 seconds in a day. What are you going to do with them? So I budget my time with my clients. I tell, you know, client one, I don't tell them how much time it takes, by the way. I do this on a piece rate system. So I will tell them, I'm going to do this much work. And it may be this much work. And then if I can do more, then I have more time later on because I've already done it. But you can chunk it down. You can do so that you don't feel overwhelmed. You can take it just one bite at a time. Get rid of your excuses. That was the marketing thing. Just be honest with yourself. Get a partner. Get an accountability partner. Specific deadlines. If you can even have someone who can be accountable to you. I'm going to kind of go back to the weight loss thing. If you have someone you can be accountable with, you know, even if you say, I'm just going to lose a pound a week, or just hold me accountable to walking around the block once a day for the next 3 weeks, let's say. This is where coaches come in, and they can be very, very valuable at this, of simply calling in, checking on you. Did you do what you said you would do? People don't like to have to say, no, I didn't. It's easy when it's just you by yourself. You can say, well, I'll just kind of move that task a little bit further down the calendar. But when you have someone that's going to call you, that's one of the things that I like about my school. I go to school at Western Governors University, which is right here. It's an online school, 100% online. 19 state governors, starting with Mike Levitt of Utah and Governor of Colorado, created it because they have such rural areas that they needed a way to educate, a way for people in more rural areas who don't have access to universities, at a brick and mortar university, to achieve, you know, to earn an education. And so they created that. And one of the things I really like about the way they structured it is they have student mentors, and the student mentor is responsible for her students from the day they finish enrolling and start classes and they start orientation till the day they get their degree. And every single week, my student mentor calls me, and she looks at all my stuff. She can see what I've done online, and she'll call me and she'll say, I saw that you did this, this, and this. Great work. And then she'll say, and then I saw that you started on this. What do you need from me? How can I support you? What are your goals for the coming week? And then the next week when she calls, she says, I see that you have met your goals, or I see that you didn't. And it's really, really nice to have someone that you know, holds me accountable that way. when I was in business with a partner, at least I thought he was a partner, uh, he would do the same thing. He would follow up. No, he didn't do any micromanaging. In fact, he did very much the opposite. He just would give me tasks and leave me alone. But there were times he would call up and go, did you get that to this person? And there were a few times when I'd say, Michael, you called me and asked me to do that while I was driving, and I haven't made it home yet. But as soon as I get home, I promise you I will do that. And then I would do things like I would copy him on the email he'd asked me to send, just so he could see that I could send it. Not that I needed his feedback on it, but so that he could see that it was done. It's just a way of being accountable to him and to me and to our clients. By the way, if you're looking for an accountability partner, do not make it your spouse. That's a great way to get divorced or to get broken up. You really want that accountability partner to be a trusted friend or a colleague or a coach, but not your spouse. I think in my parents' generation they could probably do it more, but in mine and younger I wouldn't even try. Optimize your environment. Put up a do not disturb sign. In my case, it would be lock the front door. I have a little sign from WGU that says, you know, I'm testing. Testing is in progress. I have a sign from QuickBooks for tax season that I can put up and say, you know, it's tax season. Leave me alone. Do not disturb. Sometimes I want to just tape it to my forehead. But it's just a way of, you know, and there's actually apps that will shut down everything but what you're working on. If you're trying to write a paper and you already have all of your research done, which you should, you can actually disconnect even from the internet and put your cell phone away, silence it, put it away. Optimize your environment so you're not getting the interruptions. Another way would be to reward good behavior. I know a lady who was on Weight Watchers and she was trying to lose weight. If she made it to her goal weight, she would actually treat herself to a small ice cream cone, which sounds kind of counterproductive, but she knew if she did that, if she rewarded herself with a small treat, she wasn't inclined to binge later. You know, I might do something like, you know, if I get this many clients, then I'm going to reward myself with a new dress. If I, you know, if I do this, then this is my reward. So you want to kind of build in a reward system. Now, usually the punishment system is built in. If you don't do the work, someone's going to get after you. Forgive yourself. That's right. We kind of came back from the beginning where I said, you know, when I'm procrastinating going to the gym, I'm spending a lot of effort procrastinating at it. But it's much better to just say, you know what? Instead of, I should have started earlier, I should have started younger, I should have gotten up early this morning, I shoulda, you just go, you know what? I didn't. I can go at a later time, I can figure out why I'm not going, or I can drop it. And if you, you know, maybe figure out why you're not doing what you're committing to do. That way you can be more empowered. And the last step I would say would be to drop the perfectionism. A lot of times people, my youngest daughter is really, really bad about this. Love her to pieces, but this is something that she really does. If she can't do it perfectly the first time, she doesn't want to do it. That has applied to her from when I was teaching her 1, 2, 3s and ABCs. If she couldn't get it perfectly the first time, she would melt down and not want to do it anymore. So it's better to be excellent. And the only way to be excellent, you know, we all know the saying, practice makes perfect. And I've had a few friends follow that up with perfect practice makes perfect. And I went, no, absolutely not. Practice makes perfect. Imperfect practice creates perfection. Why? At the time they were telling me this, I was taking piano lessons, and I took them when I was young, and then I had a friend that was giving me lessons. This was about 9 or 10 years ago. And our other friends would say, perfect practice makes perfect. And I would go, if perfect practice makes perfect, I would never try. Imperfect practice creates excellence, and I'm happy to create excellence. Doing things wrong has taught me how to do things better. And sometimes doing things wrong, learning how to do things better, has created a more excellent solution than doing things right the first time. Nobody, and I mean nobody, practices perfectly the first time they practice. Nobody. Not if they're doing scales, not if they're learning to walk. I have often said that they say, you know, life is a journey. And I said, you know, to me, life is a marathon. In fact, it's more like the Ironman or the triathlon, where it's absolutely brutal. It's like a dirty dash. It is brutal. And if life is like a marathon, then our goal is to get to the finish line. And I know people who are going to dash over the finish line, and their hair will be perfectly coiffed, and they will have perfect clothes on, and their makeup will still be in just perfect condition. And I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm going to be one of those people that's going to come up with skinned knees and skinned elbows and dirt on my nose and my hair just a fright and an absolute mess. And I will take more satisfaction over reaching the finish line over that than in trying to make it perfect. Another quote that I've heard is that we're not meant to, to come to the end of life perfectly coiffed and looking beautiful. We are meant to slide in sideways with our hair just a mess and go, woohoo, what a ride! Walt Disney, who's one of my very favorite people, said, all the adversity I've had all my life, all of my troubles and obstacles have strengthened me. You may not realize it when it happens, but a kick in the teeth might be the best thing in the world for you. So don't expect perfection. Just do it. Have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.